Thank you, National Archive, for that short film called How to Shut Up a Quarrelsome Wife. Um, we do not condone the behavior portrayed in that film, which is more than 100 years old, but it's sure funny nonetheless. Anyways, I'm Skip Alzheimer, and we watch old 16mm films. We cheated. That's a 35mm film, and sometimes that's what happens. Is we cheat a little bit because visually there's something about it that is like, oh, that's interesting. That's a curio. I think the people that watch our show would dig that. And so yesterday I was getting over some sort of stomach bug or something. I don't know what it was. It might have come from my travels to Charlotte and doing 2 shows and being surrounded by a bunch of people and then being on a train. Like maybe I caught something. I don't know. But I'm doing better today, but I slept a lot. So a lot of the films today are about sleep and about beds. Some stuff we've seen before, some of what we haven't. So here's And So to Sleep. It's been a while since I've shown this. I enjoy it very much. Enjoy.
This is sleep. Sleep. A familiar phenomenon that has never been fully explained. No one knows why we sleep, but all of us know it's quite impossible to go without it for very long. It's much easier to go hungry or thirsty than to go without sleep. Take this fellow here. All he can think about at the moment is sleep. He has to do with a place to curl up, as sleepy folks have always done. The first written record of beds is in the Bible, dating from about 521 BC in the book of Esther. If our sleepy friend had lived those several hundred centuries ago, he might have made his bed of pillows piled on the floor at night and used as seats during the day. Or, had he lived in Roman times, this bench-like structure with a thin pad for a mattress would have served him as his bed. These were often ornate and costly, and laid with rare woods, ivory, or bone. Marco Polo describes a bed used in India which might well have been the forerunner of the bunk bed. Fashioned of light cane and attached to ropes, the beds were raised at night to escape insects and snakes. Though undoubtedly practical at the time, this bed was hardly safe. Yet our word bed comes from an ancient Indo-European word meaning a dugout place for safe resting. On the other hand, the hardy Spartan Vikings introduced the feather bed and slept the long winter nights in warmth when most of the rest of the world was still sleeping either on the ground, thin mats, or pillows.
That's very frustrating. I have to hunt that film down and see if I can rescan it and what the deal with the soundtrack is.
Besides a firm, thick, long-wearing mattress, we
Hold on.
demand good workmanship.
1 second. Oh, it kind of comes back.
Skillfully, carefully tied.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead on that. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties.
This is sleep. Sleep. Thick, long-wearing mattress, we demand good workmanship. The edges reinforced so they won't break down under continual use. Sturdy handles for turning the mattress, and inside, skillfully, carefully tied temper steel springs for firmness and resiliency. Real resiliency, not just a bounce effect. Not very comfortable? Did you get a new box spring when you bought your mattress? Maybe that's the trouble. It's a good idea, you know, for a simple reason. The box spring is actually the foundation on which you sleep. It supplies about 1/3 the total resilient support of your bedding when used with an inner spring mattress, and about 2/3 when used with a solid core mattress. If your springs sag, they'll make your mattress sag too, and no matter how good your mattress is, your sleep will suffer. When you think that you spend 1/3 of your life in sleep, the necessity for a good mattress and good box springs is apparent. With a new box spring, not only does the covering or ticking match the mattress, but each spring in the mattress is matched by a corresponding coil in the box spring which accompanies it. In every detail, they are made for each other. We rest our brains as well as our bodies when we sleep. Comfort. That's what we're after. That's right. When you're looking for a mattress, don't just look. Try it out. A good mattress is firm but resilient. And you now have a whole range of sizes to choose from. Twin, double, queen size, king size, and even round beds. That's a good idea too. Check the label of a mattress. You'll find it spells out for you what's beneath the ticking, so you know what you're buying. Here you'll find a description of the filling material, an assurance that the unseen parts are clean, made of good substances and according to the law. Of course, the mattress shouldn't have a hard slab-type surface that distorts rather than supports your body. Ideally, your weight should be distributed evenly and supported evenly. And it should support your weight without letting you sink too far into the surface. At last, sleep. As the English poet Sir Philip Sidney pointed out, come sleep, oh sleep, the certain knot of peace, the baiting place of wit, the balm of woe, the poor man's wealth, the prisoner's release, the indifferent judge between the high and low. Yes, sleep may be a mystery, but it's no mystery why for 9 of 10 people, sleep comes sooner, better, on a cool, comfortable, cotton-cushioned inner spring mattress. A mattress made with sleepy people in mind. This is sleep, and so is this.
Very strange. Yeah, like I guess we're having audio problems today. I'm not quite sure, but today there's a mild theme, which is beds, bedrooms, mattresses, sleeping, stuff like that. So hopefully this next film won't be problematic. Enjoy.
See where we are. The fire test you are about to see was conducted at the National Bureau of Standards in a 10 by 16 foot simulated patient sleeping room. The mattress is composed of a latex core with a polyvinyl chloride impregnated fabric cover. The bed was made up with cotton polyester sheets and spread. The pillow was composed of chopped polyurethane foam. The window curtains were of a fire retardant treated material. A smoke detector and 2 sprinkler heads were mounted on the ceiling so that their operation could be observed and timed. Small fabric samples were used to determine the time at which full room involvement occurred. The fire was ignited in a plastic wastebasket containing a plastic liner and waste paper. The wastebasket was placed adjacent to the bed. The wastebasket has now been ignited. The left of your screen is approximately 15 seconds slow. At 15 seconds into the fire, the flames appear just over the surface of the bed. The smoke detector on the ceiling has now operated. The smoke detector is being removed from the room for use in further experimentation. The burning of the plastic trash can close to the floor can be noted underneath the bed. It is now 1 minute into the test. The plastic trash basket has now collapsed, and there is no flame contact from the trash basket with the bed. Everything that is burning is bedding material. A very light white smoke has built up into the room at a level of 4 feet above the floor. The flames are now approximately 2 feet above the surface of the bed. It is now 2 minutes into the test, and the smoke being produced still has a white color. The ceiling temperatures are approximately 100 degrees F, measured directly over the bed. The flames are now receding slightly. It is now 3 minutes into the test, and the flames have receded to approximately 6 inches above the bed. Only the edge of the bed is involved. The fire has spread laterally along the side of the bed where the primary ignition occurred. The light smoke condition can be seen in the smoke meter at the 5-foot level in the doorway. The fire is now progressing across the surface of the bedding materials in the direction of the pillow. It is now 4 minutes into the test. The pillow has now become ignited. The ceiling temperatures are still less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The pillow is now actively burning. Flame propagation across the surface of the bed has now reached approximately the middle, directly under the ceiling thermocouple. Approximately 1/3 of the pillow is involved, and the flames are approximately 1.5 feet above the bed. It is now 5 minutes into the test, and the pillow fire is developing rapidly. The flames over the pillow are now approximately 2.5 feet high. The ceiling temperature directly over the bed is 250 degrees F. The temperature measured adjacent to the bed is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. A fast response 135 degree Fahrenheit sprinkler has just operated at 5 minutes and 37 seconds into the test. It is 6 minutes into the test, and the smoke in the room is becoming very black. This indicates that the mattress core has become involved in the fire. The 165 degree sprinkler head has now operated. The ceiling temperature is 400 degrees. The temperature at 5 feet adjacent to the bed is 230 degrees, and the temperature at the 5-foot level in the doorway is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The smoke has become very heavy in the doorway, almost excluding the light from the smoke meter above the clock. It is now 7 minutes into the test, and full involvement of the bed and materials and the mattress core has been achieved. The ceiling temperature is 800 degrees, the temperature adjacent to the bed is 400 degrees, and the doorway temperature still remains at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The smoke is now down to approximately 26 inches above the floor level. The doorway temperature is approximately 380 degrees Fahrenheit at the 5-foot level. It is now approaching 8 minutes into the test, and flames are beginning to appear in the doorway opening. The sprinkler system has been manually activated, and the fire is being extinguished at this time. This test presents a startling picture of the speed at which fire can grow. Although this represents only one set of test conditions, similar conditions do exist, and fires of this nature have occurred. It is interesting to note that only approximately one half of the mattress in this fire was consumed during the duration of the test.
So yes, that was some shenanigans on my behalf. I claim total responsibility for that. I was looking for things with bed or mattress in whatever my collection, and also National Archives. And so Battle in the Bedroom came up, and I was like, wait a minute, we haven't shown this. Let me see how naughty this film gets. And it's naughty, but it's not. It's incredibly playful and silly. So I was like, yeah, I'll show this. And I was like, ooh, I have this other film from the National Archives called Mattress Fire Test, and it is incredibly dull, considering that it is about a fire. So I was like, well, what would happen if I combine the two? And there you go. That's what that was. All right, this is from the Prelinger Archive. They've been scanning a bunch of stuff recently, which is very exciting, and I'm helping them get stuff up at Internet Archive, and also they have their own official YouTube channel, and so this will be a film that will show up there at some point. This is Terrible Strange Bed. Enjoy.
Then that we are in danger. Unmask a friend, and you may find yourself staring into the face of death. Even so, in today's story by that master of suspense, Wilkie Collins. Our scene, a tavern in France, a friendly haven where a traveler may stop by and have a drink and observe the local customs. Places, please.
The wine, where's the wine, Mademoiselle?
Coming.
Hurry.
You drink faster than I can pour.
Try it again. Always have this kind of luck.
Here you are, Joe.
Well, here. Why, let's have a hand.
Joseph, where are you,
This is yours, sir.
I had been persuaded by a few of the local patrons to join them in a friendly game of cards.
Feel the cards.
As the evening progressed and I, instead of being gracious enough to lose my money, enjoyed a phenomenal run of luck, the atmosphere chilled quite noticeably. I learned from their glances that they had hoped to fleece me without mercy. But I knew a trick or two myself. Beat that, if you can.
I've had enough. So have I.
Sorry, gentlemen, sorry. Perhaps some other time.
Perhaps. I was gonna pick them up like go.
All right, pick them up then. Put it back on the table.
I assure you, monsieur, I never
Perhaps
intended
the
to.
police would like to hear what you never intended.
The police? No, I.
Please, let's forget the incident.
Thank you, monsieur. Thank you.
Well, I hope you won't regret your generosity.
You saw his face when I mentioned the police.
Oh, there's no harm done. Thanks to you, sir. I owe you a debt of gratitude. I don't know how I can repay you.
Forget it. Gentlemen must stick together, right?
All right. My name is Thompson, Henry Thompson.
To know you. Captain Paul Lejeune, formerly of the Grand Army of France.
Perhaps you gentlemen would care for a drink.
Excellent. Will you join me?
It'd be a pleasure.
Thank you. There. Huh? I hereby award you the Liquid Medal of Honor.
it you wish, monsieur?
Madame Elise, I compliment you on your charming self, on your charming tavern, and on your charming cognac. Let me have another bottle.
No.
No.
No. No. Take the word of an old soldier, Mr. Thompson. Coffee. Yeah, with this money, you'll need all your wits about you on your way home tonight.
He's right. There may be danger in the street.
Danger! I can assure you, madam, that I can take care of myself. Am I not prepared for danger?
Joseph, give it back to him.
Hey, I think you better put that away.
Yes, I suppose.
No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute, not like that. Here, let me show you. Yeah, this. The bill's there. There we are. Now, by this corner, and there we are. Safe for the night.
For you, Captain.
Oh, thank you, madam.
And for you, monsieur.
Thank you, madam. You are very good health.
To a safe journey home. What's the matter?
I don't know. I feel quite faint. Perhaps you can get me to the street. The air.
Yes, just a moment. Madame Elise. Elise, come here.
Too much to do, monsieur.
Yes, he can't go out in the streets like this, especially not with the money.
There's an empty room upstairs, monsieur.
Yes, but you can stay here for the night. I think it would be wise.
Yes.
Joseph, help the gentleman upstairs. The vacant room at the end of the hall.
All right, Joseph. All right. I'll be all right now, yes. That's all right. Good night, Joseph. Good night. Good night. Now to sleep. But sleep would not come. I had no idea how long I lay there, my head reeling, my whole body numb, unable to move, unable to sleep. To steady myself, I began to take a sort of inventory of my surroundings. That dark old portrait. Man wearing an odd plumed hat. How many feathers were there? 5 all told. The fireplace. The chair with my jacket, where I had tossed it on the way to bed. That was all. Nothing portrait of any interest whatever. And even that, except for that odd little feathered hat, what had become of it? Had the picture moved higher on the wall? Or...
Clumsy fool. Clean it up. Well?
It's done.
In the morning, we'll throw his body in the river as we did the others.
Where's the money?
There it is.
Get it.
I wouldn't touch that if I were you. Stand back, both of you.
But, monsieur, we thought...
I know what you thought, madame. But unfortunately, your coffee was not drugged as expertly as usual. It kept me awake instead of putting me to sleep as you intended. Careful, Captain. This murderous bed of yours operates as smoothly as your tongue. Or, shall we say, as smoothly as the guillotine. Shall we go?
Great. A twist. We love a twist. Yeah, that was, I don't know anything about that. That might have been a series for television. I'm guessing it was probably for television, given the length of it. But, yeah, pretty great. All right. What am I wanting to do here? I decided that I'm going to, instead of showing you this 30-minute film about how to make a bed, I'm going to instead show you this film that we've seen before, but it's still pretty great. It's part of the Screen Science Digest, and it is Sleep, Mysterious Third of Our Lives. Enjoy.
Each of us spends 1/3 of our life sleeping and dreaming. Yet for centuries, artists, philosophers, and others have struggled to understand and interpret this universal experience. Why do we fall asleep? How much sleep do we need? Why can't we stay awake when we want to? Why can't we go to sleep when we want to? And why do we have to sleep at all? In fact, a person who could escape the periodic need for sleep could add 20 or more productive years to his life. By contrast, Medical surveys indicate that at least 1/3 of all individuals have suffered a type of insomnia or unwanted sleeplessness at some time in their lives. Other sleep-related health disorders are also widespread, but often go undiagnosed, becoming sources of both pain and self-torment. Only within the last 20 years have researchers begun to probe the scientific mysteries of sleep. This report profiles some of the activities and findings of one notable study organization, the Sleep Research and Treatment Center of the Milton S. Hershey Hospital at Pennsylvania State University. Today, at more than 30 centers in the United States, as well as Mexico City, Quebec, Canada, and other locations, scientists and physicians are investigating the nature of sleep and dreams. One leading facility, the Sleep Research and Treatment Center of Pennsylvania State University, is organized around 3 interrelated activities. A sleep research laboratory, carrying out fundamental investigations into the scientific nature of sleep and of sleep-related medical disorders. A sleep disorders clinic, providing diagnosis and treatment for people with sleep-related health problems. Its test records and comprehensive case histories have also suggested new hypotheses about sleep behavior, and extensive educational programs, scientific exhibits, audiovisual training aids, symposia, and workshops, all aimed at providing physicians with conclusions and recommendations for use in the diagnosis and treatment of sleep disorders. The center both conducts scientific investigations of normal sleep and tries to find ways to better diagnose, treat, and cure sleep-related medical problems. By thus studying all aspects of sleep, the experts hope to better comprehend its total nature. One major area of research is insomnia, which includes difficulties in falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking too easily or too often. About 1/3 of all people have suffered from one or more of these problems over long periods in their lives. Though sleeping pills are often prescribed for insomnia, center studies have shown that patients may quickly develop a tolerance for them, which can in time lead to even more serious problems, such as drug dependency. In response, center experts have helped other researchers in perfecting sleep inducers, for which acclimation takes much longer. Each case of insomnia, however, has its own underlying causes, most often psychological. Unfortunately, most individuals tend to deny that emotional factors may be causing their sleeplessness, making their treatment more difficult until the personal problem is somehow understood. Meanwhile, research continues on this major social loss and personal misfortune. A second sleep-related medical disorder is somnambulism, or sleepwalking. This research film, made at the University of California, shows a child sleepwalking, even though his eyes appear to be open. Perhaps 15% of all children have at least one such sleepwalking episode before they are 16. If such a case of somnambulism is suspected, a physician should be contacted at once. Fortunately, most individuals, including this one, eventually outgrow the problem. A third notable sleep-related medical problem is narcolepsy. Repeated and uncontrolled sleep attacks which last for short periods. These attacks may occur at any time or place without warning Narcolepsy, while relatively rare, is more common than multiple sclerosis or muscular dystrophy. This film sequence, made at the Pennsylvania State University Sleep Center, shows a patient suffering from narcolepsy who is about to have an attack under controlled conditions. This setting was chosen so her fall would be cushioned. Narcolepsy is a disease which may start in adolescence. Attacks are often triggered by strong emotion, in this case, happiness. Though its pattern of symptoms has been recognized, it is still often misdiagnosed or undiagnosed with unfortunate results. Here is a second view of the same attack. The American Narcolepsy Association, recently formed in San Francisco, was organized to provide education and assistance to both physicians and stricken individuals. This film segment, made with a concealed camera, shows another emotion-triggered attack and the reactions of the patient's family. Here is the same attack again. This film begins to suggest how an undiagnosed narcolepsy case can lead a troubled and even tragic existence while putting a great emotional strain on his family and friends. Fortunately, a suspected narcolepsy case can now be quickly verified. And while no cure exists at present, several types of chemotherapy are available. Narcolepsy exemplifies the need for increased medical education and research into sleep-related health problems. Besides its medical functions, the center also carries out scientific studies to better understand sleeping and dreaming. Until the 1950s, sleep was thought to be a simple, unchanging resting state. In 1953, however, two researchers at the University of Chicago charted periods of rapid eye movements during sleep. Their delicate sensors recorded the involved muscular activity, even though the subject's eyelids were closed. They also showed that this rapid eye movement sleep, or REM or REM sleep, occurs only during dreaming. In addition, they concluded that individuals dream at intervals almost every night. They seldom recall these dreams, however, unless awakened immediately afterwards. One key instrument of the Pennsylvania researchers and other sleep experts is the multi-channel polygraph machine, whose sensors record the body's electrical activity. Electrodes taped to the top of the head measure the brain's electrical activity, its so-called brain waves. Other electrodes above, below, and at both sides of the eyes pick up eye movements. Chin electrodes test muscle tone or tension. All data from the electrodes is automatically recorded and stored in a computer. During each of the clinic studies, the physicians and scientists explain every step in their investigations to the involved volunteer subjects and patients. In a typical study, it takes 2 days for a subject to become accustomed to the electrodes, 2 more days to get the normal or baseline readings. On the 5th day, the actual research project can commence. In some cases, radio transmitters like this one are used to beam data from research subjects living away from the center. Studies have found that sleep consists of several different levels of awareness or consciousness, REM or dreaming sleep, and 4 levels of ever deeper unawareness. On a typical night, a person's sleep pattern starts with very light sleep, which gradually deepens. REM, or dreaming sleep, begins after an hour, followed by more deep sleep, then more dreaming, the various levels alternating through the night. This complex pattern of consciousness, called a sleep cycle, differs for each person and also changes as they grow older. These three charts show typical sleep cycles for a child, a young adult, and an elderly person. Note that the amount of dreaming remains constant, though dream content varies with age. In general, research suggests that dreams tend to be related to current emotional needs. In young children, for example, many dreams are undisguised wish fulfillments. This brief introduction to the Pennsylvania State University Sleep Research and Treatment Center suggests some of the problems and potentials of this vast new scientific frontier. For it is not oblivion that is being studied, but rather some of the subtle unseen forces that shape and limit and govern each of our lives.
Not to make fun of people with narcolepsy, but that whole scene with the family and the dad getting up to yell at the kid and then just flopping over is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And the impact of that is it's slapstick, but it is also really, I mean, to be in that family and your dad is mad at you and then he just passes out. I mean, the impact of, like, the kids must have been on eggshells. All right, one last film. And this, of course, we're falling back to Sleeping Beauty. Of course, enjoy.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful fairyland kingdom. In the middle of this land was a castle. Sentries stood watch at its outermost wall. Their good king worked very hard making laws and proclamations. His chancellor helped him. Out. The king and queen were very lonely. They had no children. One day the queen was bathing in the royal pool. With her was Lady Hepzibah, who loved to talk and talk and talk. Suddenly, the queen thought she heard a small voice and said, "Shh, Hepzibah." But Lady Hepzibah talked on and on and on. So the queen moved closer to the bank of the pond, and there was a turtle. And the turtle said, "I have an important message for you. I wish to announce that a lovely little princess is to be born to you and the king." The queen could hardly believe her ears. A princess is to be born? How wonderful! Wonderful! So they waited for the baby. Whoosh! And there was the new princess. It was a beautiful little baby. Everyone was so excited and delighted, they decided to name her Briar Rose. The chancellor told a courtier to spread the news throughout the land. "Wake up," the courtier shouted. "A princess has been born." The news spread like wildfire. People laughed, shouted, cried with joy. "A princess has been born! A princess! A princess has been born! A princess has been born!" Soon after, the court met, because the king had an important announcement to make. Said the king, We will have a christening party and invite all the fairies so that they may bestow their wishes upon our fair princess. Are we going to invite all 7 fairies? And why not? Well, what about Pittipod? She has a terrible bump on her nose and her looks would spoil the pretty party. You're a wicked girl to say such things. We shall invite all 7 fairies. So the jester decided to write the invitations. He was very proud because he had just learned how to write. As soon as he had finished writing the invitations, he turned them over to the king, who gave them to Lady Hepzibah, who said she knew where the fairies lived. She stole to the edge of the lawn and stopped. She didn't really know where the fairies lived. She held up one invitation. Whoosh! She tried again. Whoosh! And 2 more. Whoosh! And now she had 1 left. This must be the one for that ugly Pittipod. Hepzibah had a plan. Preparations were started immediately for the big party. Sacks of flour, pheasant, cakes and candies poured into the royal kitchen. Soon the party was underway. All the guests and fairies were there, all but Pittipod, who had not received her invitation. Poor Pittipod watched the gay party from high up in a nearby tree. Oh, everybody was having such fun, chattering and laughing. Then the fairies bestowed their gifts. Pittipod shrieked and leaped from the tree right smack into the middle of the table. I have a gift for the princess. She will grow to be beautiful, but on her 17th birthday she will prick her finger on a spinning wheel and die. The fairies had a hurried meeting, and then one of them stepped forward to the king. She said the princess would not die, but she and the whole kingdom would sleep for 100 years. Sleep for 100 years. The king gave the chancellor orders to have all spinning wheels destroyed. The notice was posted everywhere. Destroy all spinning wheels at once. Before long, all the spinning wheels had been carted away. The princess was growing up. And she was very beautiful. On her 17th birthday, a small party was held, and the cook baked a special cake 3 layers high. That afternoon, Lady Hepzibah was strolling through the woods talking as usual. Suddenly, she stopped. There was a little old lady with a spinning wheel. Hepzibah didn't know the old lady was Pittipod in disguise. She was so pleased to see a spinning wheel after so many years, she forgot what disaster it might cause, and she hurried off to tell everyone. There's a spinning wheel in the woods, she shouted, and ran on and on. She blurted out the words in front of the princess. Oh, then she remembered. I'll stop the princess, you tell the king. The princess got closer and closer to the woods. All at once, everyone became very drowsy, and they all sat down and went to sleep. And they slept for 100 long years. During that time, many princes had heard of the strange happenings, but try as they might, they could not get through. On the 100th year, still another prince tried. Strangely enough, the bushes and briars parted and let him through. He climbed the castle wall. And saw the sleepers. The courtiers, the chancellor, and the queen, and the king, and the jester. Now, why would the jester point that way? Why would the jester point? The prince turned and went into the woods. And then he came upon Briar Rose, the sleeping beauty. She was so beautiful, he decided to kiss her. And when he did, to his amazement, she awoke. Now everyone had awakened, and they all gathered by the throne. The prince asked for the hand of the princess in marriage. The king and queen gave their consent, for it was plain to everyone that the prince and princess were in love and that they would live happily ever after.
thanks everybody for the happy ending to this fable. If you like what you saw, you can certainly contribute like Jeremy did. Thank you, Jeremy, for contributing via the Super Thanks button. You can also support us via Patreon or ko-fi.com/avgeeks. That buys us some coffee. Or you can hit the thumbs up or the like button or notify, subscribe, all that stuff. Appreciate you watching today, your eyeballs, and letting me get away with some silliness on my end, because that tells me I'm feeling better if I'm like, oh, he, he. Anyways, we'll be back again tomorrow on Friday. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Everybody take care.